Good afternoon, and a happy Thursday to everyone joining us today at Live at the Waterhole. My name is Kerry Dupree, and I will be joining you as your naturalist presenter for the afternoon. Looks like we have started today at Katai Pan over in Olifants area near the Kruger National Park with some blacksmith lapwings having a bit of a bath. So lovely weather today, I must say, in parts of southern Africa, especially Johannesburg and parts of South Africa. We've got some lovely cold weather that seems to have come in for the weekend. So I hope everyone is enjoying a break from the scorching heat and having a lovely, cool day so far. So, just a reminder, folks, that this is a live and interactive experience. If you are watching on our app or the website, you can register and ask your questions. You can join in the conversation today, scan the QR code on screen, or you can also head across to Twitter or X and use the hashtag. To send me your questions and comments. It is my last day on Live at the Waterhole for a couple of days, having a bit of a long weekend. So today will be my last day of the birding bonanza we have been running this week. So we've had a new record, one of my new Wild Earth Live at the Waterhole records. Yesterday, we managed to get up to 40 bird species for the day. It was a bit of a squeeze coming to the end there. I really was grabbing, trying to identify as many bird calls as possible. So please help me today to see how many birds we can get live at the Waterhole. So blacksmith lapwing is coming in at number 1, and we also have a grey heron. Looks like he's almost being blown away in the wind. And I think I also saw a red-billed hornbill off to the right, which will be my first red-billed hornbill for the week. Righty, getting my pen and paper ready. I've got my bird book right here, my app close by. So really excited to see how many birds we can get on this lovely Thursday afternoon here at Live at the Waterhole. Hopefully our grey heron doesn't get blown away in the wind. Looks like he's I'd like to say it looks like he's busy trying to look for a bit of a meal, but I think he's waiting for the wind to die down a little bit. Right, where's our red-billed hornbill gone? Looks like he was hopping around close by. What other birds are roaming around? We had a female impala coming down to drink. It's perfect time to preen and give yourself a little bit of a clean if you're a bird out in the African bush today. I don't think hunting will be too successful for many bird species with all this wind around. So what a lovely day to spend cleaning and preening. So it looks like we also had a grey heron on the sunrise safari this morning on Juma that was also busy hunting. Pretty cool to see a grey heron hunting. And talking about our live drives, looks like Juma has still been action packed with lion and leopard activity. Shucks, this week has been a very busy week on our live drives with all the lion and leopard activity on Juma. So we've still got the Mahle male lions that were busy feeding on a buffalo. Doesn't seem like they've gone very far, and I must say, those Mahle males look rather plump. They've been engorging themselves on this dead buffalo for a couple of days now. I know James was with them early in the week, and then this morning Cedric and then Paul also found them feeding away. I wonder when they're going to pop at some stage. They are rather fat, I must say. And also had an incredible sighting this morning of the two leopards, a TP, tortoise pan, and Shidulu that came over into Juma, and looks like there is a bit of courtship display happening. So love could be in the air in Juma, in the land of the leopards. Maybe if we're lucky, we'll have some cubs close to Juma in a couple of months to come. Of course, during the courtship display of these leopards, there can sometimes be a little bit of cattiness and nastiness from the females, playing hard to get from time to time. So it looks like Tortoise Pan got a little bit of a nick on his eye, the big male leopard Tortoise Pan. I must say, Tortoise Pan is a very impressive looking specimen of a male leopard. Very fat, big head, a very impressive, large bodied male leopard. Tortoise Pan is, I must say. The other day, I know Tortoise Pan also had a bit of an encounter with Nene, was it? And yeah, luckily they didn't have any altercations, but they were kind of in the same area. And yeah, had some pretty cool photos and sightings on a termite mound. Fuzzy Dunlop, hello, hello, and it is a thirsty Thursday indeed. I hope that you are having a fabulous Thursday so far. I must say, I know we are all dying for the weekend to come. Hump Day is over, and the weekend is approaching slowly. Just having a bit of a scan around to see if we can see any other wildlife or bird life in the area. Darkmane Lover and Colin Eames, thank you for commenting about the birds. Of course, birds are always lovely to watch, and I think birds are always a very good thing to be interested while on safari, because if you're having a bit of a quiet day like today, it's sometimes on these windy, cold days, it's difficult to have some good sightings, but there's always birds around that can keep us entertained, and of course, there's never a bad time to do a bit of a bird list. Darkmane Lover, thank you for joining us. We are excited to have you on the show today. And yeah, let's have a listen to that red-billed hornbill. I think he's going to make a vocalization. Maybe we hear some other birds to add to our list for the day. Alrighty, folks, looks a bit quiet here at Cat Eye Pan. Why don't we head across to Tau Lodge and see what else is waiting for us at our other locations? Alrighty, well, I guess we have found ourselves over in Ukukuyu, over in Namibia. Sorry, folks, I think some of our state feeds are a little bit unstable, but it is a beautiful view here in Ukukuyu over in Namibia. I think it is a day that I would love to be in Namibia. It looks like some great opportunities for some landscape photography today with a dramatic sky in the background. Hopefully that is some clouds building for some rain over in Namibia. Lovely to see springbok and could be some zebra in the background there. Hearing a little rattling testicular calling, and I think I heard a grey billway bird. All right, so it looks like we've managed to get our feedback at Tower Lodge. Let's go and see what activities are about at Tower Lodge. Alrighty. So it looks like we've got a very cute little family of warthogs that have come to join us here at Tower Lodge. So warthogs do frequent this pan, although we don't see them on a daily basis. So it is always really cool to see some warthogs. And we also have our water buck that seem to be hanging around this pan quite a lot the last couple of days. It could be due to this very beautiful green, lush vegetation that the animals are all coming to feed on. I do hope that none of these water buck get stuck in this mud. There are still two, if we're lucky, three crocodiles around, waiting for a meal. And I know there was a dead water buck earlier in the week here that did get fed on by some lions. So if we're lucky, maybe the lions will still be around. Add to our birding list for the day, we've got a pair of Egyptian geese as well as it looks like an intermediate egret. Jive Bunny, thank you for your comment there about the new power couple on Juma, the power couple of leopards. TP, Tortoise Pan, and Chidulu. Yes, I definitely agree with you there. Definitely a celebrity power couple in the leopard world in Juma. So quite cool to see the interactions between them. Very interesting to be able to follow and watch these leopards and how their kind of social structures are and how the family groups and dynamics kind of develop over time. A very big advantage to having this incredible opportunity to watch all of this wildlife and follow the family dynamics on Wild Earth. What a privilege. Got a few more viewers with us here today. Raman Nava, thank you for joining us from New York City. How incredible. We have some viewers all over the world. New York City is definitely not one we hear of often, so great to have some viewers from New York, the Big Apple. And Lady Macbeth, sounds like you have quite a substantial bird list going there, 848 bird species in South Africa. So yeah, shucks, well done for your incredible bird list there. I think my life list is probably sitting at 600 bird species at the moment between Southern Africa and Central African Republic and West Africa. So pretty impressive to have 848 birds. Well done, Lady Macbeth. I had a client early in the year that celebrated his 1,000th bird on the safari that we were on. So pretty incredible to be able to share that moment with an ultimate birder. 1,000 birds, that is a lot of birds. Back to our birding mission. We have three cattle egrets. They have also been around this pan most of the week. So yeah, they'll kind of move from pan to pan, hang out in open grassland areas, of course, to follow big antelope or big game in order to pick up on any insects that might be disturbed in the grass. But yeah, really cool to see these cattle egrets here again. Looks like it's a bit of a warmer day over in Tower Lodge. We've got some sunshine. Doesn't seem like they're getting much of this cold weather. Sounds like we have some more birds calling. We've got our rattling cisticola again and some buffalo weavers. Ooh, looks like we might have a heron. I wonder if this is our black-crowned night heron that we saw earlier in the week. Let's have a look. It could be a striated heron. That'll be a new bird for our list. Oh yes, how epic. New bird species for the week. Looks like a striated heron. Never seen a striated heron here before, so that's pretty cool sighting. Also known as the green-backed heron. So it is a common resident. Upper parts do appear quite grey. Alrighty. So yeah, pretty epic sighting of that night heron. So it's probably because of vegetation and kind of this pan drying up. It is attracting a lot of different waterfowl. So pretty cool to see that night heron. We've got our common moorhen here, as well as our very cute little three-banded plover. I will play for you the call or vocalization of that night heron. So it would be cool to find our black-crowned night heron again, but we didn't see him yesterday, so might have moved off. They sometimes don't hang out in areas for too long, like maybe just passing through, which is kind of my guess for this night heron or a green-backed night heron as well. So let me play the call of this heron for you, shall I? I'm not sure if you heard that, but yeah, pretty cool. So that vocalization is when they are in flight. So when these herons take off and are flying, that's when they generally make that vocalization. So yeah, pretty awesome to see another heron species this week. Looks like we have an elephant that has come down to join us. It's probably a young sub-adult bull that's coming down. He's a little bit nervous. Sometimes they're a bit nervy when they're on their own, as well as our moorhens, and these could be our yellow-billed ducks. Still hanging around, still hanging in there. Guess they're a little bit over the day, hiding themselves, having a midday nap. So thank you for joining us, leopard lover. Yes, it has been great birding this week, I must say. And sometimes it is nice to take things a bit slower. I know the live drives have been very busy at the moment, so a little bit difficult to get some birding in. So we've really been enjoying our birding sessions here, learning a lot about birds, different environments, different behavior. Yesterday we had quite interesting behavior of some vultures anting themselves, which I've never seen before. So they're actually lying almost like flat pancakes on the ground. This was at Victoria Falls in front of Safari Lodge. And yeah, they were lying like flat pancakes on the ground, probably taking on some ants that were roaming around on the ground in order to use them as a bit of a insect repellent. Use that formic acid that is covered on an ant's skin as an insect repellent, which was really interesting to watch. Look at this youngster coming down for a drink. Wondering if this elephant bull is going to come down for a midday mud bath. So we did have quite a few elephants yesterday having mud baths. It looks like it's hot enough today at Cow Lodge for a bit of a mud bath for an elephant, although some of our other locations I know probably be a little bit too cool. So we generally find on those cooler days, especially if there's rain, elephants are not going to be too much inclined to have a bath. And we've got some zebra also hanging around in the sunshine. Looks like they also went for a bit of a drink. Legs are covered in mud. Shame there's not much water here, so water is dwindling at this pan. Luckily, I think they do pump a bit of water into the main pan, so still a bit of fresh water at kind of main pan area, but these other little pools along the side are drying up. But it is creating a perfect mud bath spa area for a lot of mammal species like our elephant, as well as warthog and buffalo. Yeah, our red-necked spurfowl also calling in the distance. I've seen them a couple of times periodically, um, scurrying around looking for some food, something to eat, possibly some grains or seeds, anything left on the ground. But we hear them a lot more here at the Tower Lodge than we do actually see them. The red-necked, red-billed spurfowl. Shame this young elephant looks like he's come from quite some distance for a drink. He looks very sandy and dusty. Probably a while since he had his last drink. Current temperature at Tower Lodge is 22 degrees Celsius. So yeah, a little bit cooler than the average day. I don't think it's as cool as Johannesburg, but yeah, temperatures have been dropping in some areas. I'm hoping that all this cloud cover and cloud formation and kind of cumulonimbus clouds that are blowing in are bringing some rains for the rainy season. So this young bull will be probably on his own for quite a few years before he joins up with a few other bachelor bulls and becomes big and strong enough to fight off some females, mate with some other females, and spread his genes if he is successful. All right, folks. Well, why don't we go and check one of our other locations and see what's happening at Safari Hook? Alrighty, folks. So welcome back to Safari Hook in Namibia, one of our new locations. We've had some great birding here, but first time I've seen a giraffe here all week. So good to see a nice big giraffe bull down at the watering hole. Doesn't look like he's hanging around for very long. Sorry, folks, we had some quite technical difficulties, but it's been awesome watching this big male giraffe on about his mission. It's probably caught him at the end of his little drinking session, and now he's heading off to go and feed for the rest of the day. Some birds we can look out for here in Safari Hook in Namibia. Earlier this week, we had a very strange sighting of a black stork. Again, I think it was a lost migrant that maybe has either left too early or slightly too late on his migratory path. And oh, what do we have over there? Ah, I've got an oryx. So very common to see oryx here in Namibia as well. Yeah, he's probably also coming down to the watering hole for a drink. What a cool view is that? An oryx and a giraffe. Whoa, another dusty day in Namibia. That's where these dust clouds come about and you can barely see anything. Have a look at that. Another dusty, hot day in Namibia. You barely see these poor animals too. Because Namibia is very arid, a landscape dominated by vast deserts and open plains, it is known for its striking dust clouds and dramatic winds, especially in regions like the Namib and Kalahari Desert. So the wind here can be very powerful and carries fine desert sand across the landscape, often creating these stunning dust clouds that swirl over the sand dunes and rocky plains like we've just experienced. So, because it is the dry season, this is when it is more pronounced, these dust clouds, as they are lacking in the most vegetation and leaves. So the soil is very exposed, making it easier for the strong winds to lift the sand and dust up into the air. Some very iconic photos and documentaries taken in Namibia during this time of the year, especially in the red sand dunes of the Sources Flay and the salt pans in Etosha. Incredible how these giraffe, as they move from one place to another, they can actually, yeah, with the advantage of having their height on their side, they can see for very far distances. We've got a waterbuck also coming down to join at the watering hole. It's not the perfect habitat for a waterbuck. Seems like it's just one female waterbuck on her own. Looks a little bit lost. Rosie Adams, definitely a peaceful scene, although that wind is picking up, and lots of dust being blown all over the show. That dust in Namibia is almost like talcum powder or baby powder, it just gets everywhere. Jeremy Friedman, I agree with you. That was a very beautiful, or very handsome male giraffe. What a privilege to see such a lovely male giraffe over in Namibia. Jeremy Friedman, yes, the landscape here in Namibia is very different to that in South Africa. Very a lot more arid desert regions. Where there are trees, the tree levels are a lot lower than some of the kind of aquatic kind of environments we get in the Kruger National Park. Definitely not as green. So very dry, and all these animals and antelope that you find here in this dry desert region are very much adapted to surviving long periods without much food or water. Dark mane lover, oryx are very beautiful antelope. I must agree with you. So very lovely to see those oryx there. What a privilege. Love those long horns of theirs, and of course, their very interesting facial markings. These are the virtual zebra or plain zebra, so very similar to our zebra in southern Africa. Although I did find a lot of the zebra here in Namibia did have a lot more white on their legs. You do obviously get the two different species of zebra, the plain zebra or virtual zebra, as well as the mountain zebra. And apparently you do get, so the reason why the zebra have different color legs is you do get the mountains, and Namibia is home to the Hartmann's mountain zebra. So some areas do still have the Burchell's zebra in the northeastern regions of Namibia. But you do get in Namibia in some regions, you will also get the Hartmann's mountain zebra, which is a subspecies of the mountain zebra that is again very well adapted to the country's arid mountainous regions. So differences, this Hartmann's mountain zebra does have very narrow and more defined stripes, grid pattern on their rump, and of course they do have the typical white legs. Of course, these two different species do occur in very different ecosystems and plains, some favoring savannas and grasslands, whereas the Hartmann's mountain zebra do also thrive in very rocky mountainous landscapes. So we have a good question here from Rosie Adams. Thank you for joining us again today, Rosie. So Rosie's asking about, do all animals and birds have an extra eye protection? And yes, in many cases, animals and many bird species do have an extra eye protection. In birds, it's called the nictating membrane, and mammals do have this membrane as well. Including reptiles. So birds, reptiles, and mammals will have this nictating membrane, and it is basically a third eyelid. And it helps to protect the eye from things like dust, water, or injury. Lovely waterbuck, two young waterbucks. So it looks like our female waterbuck is not alone because they have some company. Some animals, just like the waterbuck, for example, will also have very long eyelashes, and this can also be a good way to protect the eyes from sand and dust. Some animals, depending on the position of their eyes, this can also be a mechanism to help to protect their eyes, as well as the pupil shape. So certain animals like goats and cows have a very unique pupil shape that allows them to control light that is taken into the eye efficiently, and it can actually help to sharpen their vision in bright or low light conditions. Crazy, the adaptation of mammals and birds in their eyes in order to survive in particular terrain or for particular habitats as well. We had a cool bird just now. I think there, just to the left, we have our Namakwa dove. So perfect species, which is probably should be a characteristic species of Namakwa land, because every day we've been at Safari Hook here in Namibia, we have seen these beautiful little Namakwa doves. Did have a pretty cool bird sighting here the other day. We had a green shank. So yeah, hopefully he's still around. It's pretty cool to see a green shank, especially in these kind of more dry, arid regions. So yeah, we'll keep an eye open for that green shank and just enjoy watching these waterbuck. Waterbuck seem a bit nervy or alert or aware of something for some reason. Let's see what they are looking at. It is common for waterbuck to spend a lot of time in watery, wet environments like this. All right, why don't we head across to Juma and see what's happening at Gowrie Dam? Had a question coming through from Rosie Adams. So Rosie's asking about sheep and having rectangular pupils. Yes, so some information that I was reading from was pertaining to goats, sheep, cats, and even in some species, bovines that do have the very unique pupil shapes that allow them to control the light intake so that they can efficiently have a better vision in low light or bright light conditions. So, yeah, incredible how nature or how each and every different animal has evolved and adapted in order to fit into its environment. So there were some hoopoes here at Juma, which we're hoping to get, but maybe there we go. We can hear the hoopoo. Also hear a blacksmith lapwing calling there. Sounds like we've got a Cape Starling also. There we go. The end of that dead, fallen over tree. Cape Starling just flown away. Just having a bit of a scout and scan to see what else is out there. Gowrie Dam can be a very good hotspot for wildlife. I know the water's pretty much dwindled, not much water left at the moment, but still a very active hotspot for a lot of species. having a look in this bush to see if we can find anything. Is there anything around? Alright folks, doesn't look like we've got too much activity here at Juma, so why don't we head back to Safari Hook and see what else has come down to the waterhole. Looks like we have a little herd of elephants that have come down for a drink. Why don't we have a bit of a quiet moment, folks, just to enjoy watching and listening to these elephants. Hope that baby is not going to get stuck in the pan. Yeah. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Poor little elephant. But glad they managed to get him out quickly. The other evening I was at a camp in Zimbabwe and I watched at night for about 2 hours this poor little baby elephant that got stuck in a trough. You could hear all the very interesting vocalizations. The elephants obviously all getting stressed, very worried about this tiny little baby elephant. So yeah, lots of interesting sounds. A perfect moment for some time to yourself. Have a little bit of a few deep breaths, some yoga moments, some quiet moments to just close your eyes, listen to the elephants or watch the elephants and just take some time to yourself for the day. Moments of gratitude right here. We're just having a bit of a quiet moment, folks, just to enjoy this beautiful scenery, watch these elephants having a swim, and just have a bit of a moment of gratitude and gratefulness that we can have the privilege of watching this incredible wildlife today. for an elephant pool party. What a cool day. It is a bit chilly here in Johannesburg. So yeah, it's awesome to see they're having some nice warm weather, obviously in Namibia. It's a perfect time for an elephant pool party. It's pretty loud here at Safari Hook, I must say, but it was awesome to be able to just sit and watch and listen to these elephants. We do have a little baby elephant almost getting stuck in the water trough. It does happen quite often from time to time, especially in this time of the year, in the dry season, when there's lots of sticky mud all over the place. The pans and water troughs are also normally a little bit low in water, so we get a lot of baby elephants getting stuck. But generally, the breeding herds and the mothers or the cow elephants are quite good at retrieving their youngsters from the troughs, although it doesn't. This rescue mission does not go down without a bit of squabbling and squealing. So Willem, very good question about oxpeckers. So since we've been having a birding bonanza week, we've had interesting questions about birds and especially oxpeckers and why oxpeckers don't sit on elephants as much as buffalo. So elephants don't generally harbor as many ticks and parasites, smaller parasites like ticks, as your thin-skinned mammals. Because elephants are classified as a thick-skinned mammal and they have rather thick skin, it's difficult for ticks to kind of burrow into their skin. Sometimes between their legs or around their soft private parts, you might have a few ticks here and there, but generally they don't have as much of a high population as, say, for example, a buffalo or impala or even warthog. So yeah, because of that tremendously thick skin that elephants have, don't have as many ticks. So that's why you do find oxpeckers more harassing the thin-skinned mammals. So while we're having a scan around this pan, folks, let's keep a very sharp eye open. The little baby got a fright. Ooh, for our shelled duck, and I think this is shelled duck. We have a green. We're looking for a green shank. I think we might have a shelled duck there, which would be pretty cool. Our first shelled duck for the week. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'm struggling to see his head there. So, a shelled duck. That would be exciting. I'm very excited. Oh, there we go. Yep, that is a shelled duck. I saw my first shelled duck in Namibia as well earlier this year. Pretty awesome to see them around. Only one. I wonder if there's any others. So that is the male shell duck that we just saw with the grey head. The female has a white head, and they do look very similar to the Egyptian geese, a similar coloration, but the minute you see their head, I instantly identify it as a different species. And yeah, because of the rusty brown kind of coloration. And yeah, they are resident and nomadic throughout its home range, which is parts of South Africa going into Namibia. It was also a bit larger than the Egyptian goose, as well as brown blotches in the middle of its chest, which are quite different, as well as the head pattern. It does have a similar sound to the Egyptian goose. Let's give it a call. I'm going to play the call for you here, the shelled duck. Look at this little elephant who's just having a bit of a chomp on this dead tree here. And looks like our baby elephant is having a lie down. Might be just enjoying a bit of the dust, a bit of the sand. Another elephant is destroying termite mound or itching under his trunk. I can't decide quite what he is up to. And we just had a crazy dust cloud that came by earlier. We could barely even see what was on screen. There was a giraffe and an oryx that completely covered in dust, just like these elephants are doing right now. Lots happening on the screen at the moment. This elephant now has an itchy bottom. Goodness gracious me, these elephants are on a mission. Just had a lovely mud bath and now they are itching and scratching all over the place. This little baby looks like he's having a bit of a sand bath too. How cute! Isn't it adorable watching this little elephant? Not quite sure what he's up to, but he's having a great time. Lots of dust. Baby elephant's having a great time. Another elephant with very itchy body parts. It's scratching himself all over termite mounds. So, yeah, very great rubbing post for an elephant. I'm really praying our Corey Bustard will come down to the watering hole for a visit. That would be pretty cool too. Had some Corey Bustards here yesterday and the day before. Maybe our lost black stork will also pitch up. Meantime, these elephants are living the dream. So a lot of animals will use this dust bathing behavior as, again, this elephant is quite entertaining. Look at these two. Alrighty, folks, let's go and check out one of our other locations and see what bird life is waiting for us at Lintore. Beautiful view of a lilac-breasted roller. We haven't had any lilac-breasted rollers this week, so it's nice to add another cool bird to our list for the day. One of the most colorful birds in Africa. We have 8 different colors. Crazy, beautiful lilac-breasted roller. They don't have the most beautiful vocalizations, I must say. Most rollers sound quite ghastly. It's, you can't have it all with this roller. Oh, there we go. He's showing off his better side. So we did have some pretty cool birds here at Lintore. I'm not 100% confident in my birds in Kenya, but we did have some pretty cool firefinches yesterday, the red-billed firefinch, African firefinch, and there are still some mysterious weavers that, female weavers that are eluding me. But we've seen some cool weavers and a little squirrel that has also been entertaining us the last couple of days at Lintore, coming down for a drink and doing squirrel things. Isn't he a beautiful bird, this roller? Hudson, I'm glad that this lilac-breasted roller is your favorite bird. I'm not surprised. It's a very beautiful bird. And Sandy Franklin, good morning, good morning. And I'm glad that you're joining us for some birding today. Our list is at 18 birds for the day. Lilac-breasted roller coming in at number 18. And of course, we had a pretty cool sighting of the shelled duck over in Safari Hook in Namibia, which is a cool new bird for the day, for the week actually, and so is the lilac-breasted roller. Haven't had any rollers this week, so just taking some time to appreciate this beautiful bird. Maybe our little squirrel friend has also come down to join us. Goodness, it looks like it is raining over in Kenya. Not surprised. They did have a bit of cloud buildup over the last couple of days, so I'm glad that Kenya is experiencing some rainfall. Sorry, folks, I think we had some technical difficulties with our camera, but we have gone over to Nguma in Etosha National Park, and we have got our marabou storks. I don't think these marabou storks have moved very far because on Sunday they were also here. Throughout the week they've been here. So I think there's probably enough food being provided to them by this very uh, shallow watering hole. They're probably spending a lot of their time fishing and hunting in this small pan and, of course, scavenging from those lions that we saw earlier in the week. So, yeah, Sunday we also had a pretty epic sighting of 4 lionesses and 1 big male lion that was at this location in Nguma. Just 4 lionesses were lying under a tree, and there was a male lion lying not too far away. So that was a cool way to start live at the waterhole on a Sunday. Lady Macbeth, I agree with you there. These marabou storks sure do remind you of the Undertaker. Um, Not the most attractive looking birds. So they are a very unique and somewhat striking bird, these marabous, and do have a very unusual appearance and very fascinating behavior, actually. So a few interesting facts about these marabou storks is obviously they're a very large bird with very long legs, a very straight bill, which is specially designed for, of course, they can use it for hunting and fishing, but it is specially designed for stealing meat at carcasses and at kill sites. Do have that very characteristic fleshy throat pouch, which again is used for thermoregulation and possibly displaying to the females in the breeding season. The males will apparently use this throat pouch to display to the females. Their feathers are mostly darkish grey or black, and they do have a white underbelly. Generally scavengers that feed on carrion. Of course, you often see them following carcasses. Where there's a carcass and vultures, you will find marabou storks. Do play a very important role in the ecosystem. Just as we were speaking about vulture yesterday, marabou storks are also very important pest control and reduce the spread of diseases. They do have one of the largest wingspans in the world of 3 to 3.7 meters or 12 feet. And they stand over 1.5 meters or 5 feet tall. How crazy is that? Social behavior of these marabou storks, they are often seen with other scavenging birds, and they do obviously have a bit of a dominance in their feeding structure. And they will often push smaller scavengers to the side in order for them to feed. Um, Also quite interesting. Sometimes you see the marabou storks, they have white legs, just like this marabou on the right-hand side, and they will actually defecate on their own legs, and this is a behavior known as I struggle to pronounce this word, urohydrosis, and this is a cooling mechanism and helps to cool their legs down. And in some vulture species, this uric acid or the defecation of the vultures or marabous defecating on their legs, it also kind of covers their legs in this acid, which creates and forms a bit of an anti-pesticide layer, so a protective layer on their legs. So while they are at a kill site or a carcass, it protects them from being infected by any bacteria, which is pretty cool. Kind of move around in the water with their bills like that, and as soon as they feel something moving through their bills, they'll snap away and catch themselves some fish for lunch. Oh, we've got some white-browed sparrow weavers also calling. I think there's a tree close by where they must have a nest. White-browed sparrow weavers. Hear the sound of the cicadas in the background there. I have some fond or slash not so fond memories of summer in a very hot environments and very hot places in South Africa, Zimbabwe, temperatures climbing from 45 to 50 degrees, cicadas vocalizing in the background just to drive you a little bit more mad. Yeah, sometimes on these hot summer days, the best place to be is underneath a shady tree, burying your head in the sand so that you don't hear the sound of the cicadas driving you slightly dilly. Got a good question from Dilly. He's asking about marabou storks and if they are good at flying. So surprisingly, yes, marabou storks are surprisingly good flyers, especially given their large size and seamlessly awkward appearance. I think awkward is a correct word to use for marabou storks. They are quite awkwardly looking, especially with that fluffy hair and very reddish and kind of discolored skin that they have on their face. They look like someone who has not been religious with sunscreen. They're just really very sunburnt. So they are obviously adapted for soaring for very long periods, and they will also use thermals as an updraft in order to help them stay aloft without much effort. So, yeah, the soaring ability does allow these storks to cover very vast distances in search of food with very minimal energy. So they just kind of glide at high altitudes in the sky with their wings outstretched, looking out for any food or any other vultures that might be congregating at a carcass. This marabou looks like he's giving himself a lovely groom. Just having a bit of a scan. See what else is around? Any other movement? Any wildlife? Any birds? Love to see a coron or a Cory bustard would be pretty cool to see here in Namibia. It was quite a epic sighting on the weekend on Sunday when we had those lions. We did also have a herd of wildebeest as well as some springbok that and a giraffe that were all very eager to come down to this pad for a drink. But they were a little bit nervous because the lions kept moving from time to time. So yeah, it was quite an interesting afternoon watching this interaction. Let's have a scan, see what else is out there. What is lurking? So this is the tree just to our left where we had the 4 lionesses huddled up underneath the base of the tree in the shade. It did look like they were in quite good condition, those lionesses, and of course there was a big male close by. And in our tree to the left was where we had a nice big male. Well, a big male lion lying underneath that tree on Sunday. You wouldn't have even known he was there if you hadn't been pointed out. Just looked like a termite mound under a tree. Lions are blending in very well to this grass here in Namibia. Nice little shady spot. This would be a perfect lion lying spot. Perfect place for lions to hide. Alrighty, why don't we go and check out one of our other locations and see if we have any luck over at Hyena Pan in Botswana. Alrighty, folks. So it's looking pretty quiet here in Botswana's hyena pan, but maybe we'll take off some birds and keep our eyes peeled for some hyena. Because yesterday, could barely even see them. We had like 4 hyena all just lying around the pan, and we could barely even see them. Here's a beautiful setting, I must say. Nice cloud build up there. Great reflections in the water. Surprising that there's no elephants. There's been lots of elephant movement around Hyena Pan. They've been resting up underneath these semi-shady mopani trees. I'm going to have a scout, have a scan. So we've got some blacksmith lapwings and Cape starlings. Yesterday we did hear a grey hornbill here. Just in and around the camp. Oop. There's a Cape turtle dove, which will be a new one for our list for the day. And of course, always beautiful to look at these starlings. Perfect day and time of the day for a bird bath. So these Cape starlings, or also known as the Cape glossy starlings, are quite a striking bird native to southern Africa. And yeah, they do have that brilliant blue iridescence color to their wings. They are known for that vibrant iridescence bluish green shimmer that glows in the sunlight. So they are mostly lacking pigment in their feathers. So it's an iridescence that you see that reflects on their wings in the sunshine, giving them this very beautiful metallic look. So just keep your eyes peeled, folks. There could be a hyena lying in the mud somewhere, lying under a tree. I'm convinced that there's quite a few hyena dens around Hyena Pan here. That's why they have such a healthy population. There is a community. Obviously, you have Maremi Private Game Reserve that is about an hour's drive from Hyena Pan. And then you do have a private concession, which is about half an hour's drive. And there's also a healthy population of hyena dens there. We did, when I was last at Hyena Pan early in the year, we did spend a morning with a few hyena pups at a den, which was very special, watching the little pups going in and out, playing, lots of activity. They were quite shy, quite timid, but yet still gave us quite a good show. We just patiently sat watching these hyena. Lovely to see a bit of greenery. I'm sure it's because of the rainfall that we've been having. So there's kind of been sporadic rainfall within some regions of southern Africa, and I'm sure that is what is fueling this burst of buds and leaves in a lot of the vegetation. Nice to see some green plants. It has been a long, dry season for sure. See, a lot of these trees here have been used by the elephants as a rubbing posts on their way out from the pan. Nice trees to give themselves a good old scratch. These mopani trees have perfect holes as well inside the trunks of the trees, which are very good nesting areas for your hornbills. A lot of hornbill species, yellow-billed hornbills and red-billed hornbills, will nest in holes in trees. ground hornbills as well. Very well known for nesting in huge big trees on riverbanks and in forests. Got a fork-tailed drongo over here. Another bird to add to our list for the day. He also looks like he's giving himself a little bit of a preen. Must say, I do love the relationship these fork-tailed drongos have with the meerkats in the Kalahari. So these fork-tailed drongos will make alarm calls when they see a meerkat has a fresh kill, alarming the meerkats, and then they run into their hole, and the fork-tailed drongo swoops down and steals the meal from the meerkats. He can normally do this once or twice, but fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So the meerkats often will figure out that they've been taken for a fool and not always be too vigilant or too alarmed when these drongos are alarm calling. But quite a cool relationship that these two species have. A lot of species will kind of, yeah, form a bit of a symbiotic relationship with one another when feeding in big areas. So, like impala, warthogs, as well as some birds as well, and monkeys, if they're feeding in one particular area and one species alarm calls, it will also act as an alarm for other species. So, if you get monkeys alarm calling, the impala will also be aware and alert. And if the impala alarm call, the monkeys will also be on full alert. So more eyes, more ears to search for predators. Beautiful to see the color of this starling's eye there. It's a very distinct bright yellow orange, which is quite a contrast from their vivid dark colors, adding to their striking appearance. So these starlings, they are omnivores and they do eat a variety of food, including fruit, insects, as well as seeds. So they're also known to scavenge and at many times can take small animals or leftovers of small kills. So I think I've seen a starling before eating a little gecko or a little lizard. I was quite surprised, I must say. Lizzie, I agree with you there. That starling does have a very beautiful, striking eye, doesn't it? So these Cape starlings are very social birds and can be found in groups. They're generally seen in small family units or larger flocks, especially while foraging. There's more protection in larger numbers, and they do communicate through a variety of chirps, whistles, and calls. A wood hoopoo calling again, and three little mapani, tree squirrels. Check at that, how cute. What on earth are they feeding on? Oh, looks like they're feeding on grass seeds. Grass seeds? Wouldn't be surprised also if they squirrels definitely love to grab spider webs. So often you'll see them feeding off spiders on spider webs. But it looks like these are grass seeds that they're possibly feeding on, is it? Busy little critters. Alrighty. Sorry, we had a bit of difficulties with our feed there at Hyena Pan. We have come back to Tower Game Lodge with our grey heron that's looking quite unusual. I don't know if he's fallen asleep. I must say, this grey heron at Tower Lodge does bring quite a lot of entertainment, especially on a Monday. He always has that tired, dreary looking face on a Monday. The one day he almost looked like he had bags under his eyes, like if he had a very long weekend. So yeah, nice to see this grey heron. Second grey heron for the day. We'll see if we can look close enough and see if we can see those eye bags. If this heron has had a long week. Yep, he looks exhausted. I hope everyone else is having a better Thursday than this grey heron, because he looks like he's done with the week. He looks like he's ready for the weekend. That Friday afternoon, falling asleep, dying for the weekend look. I feel like that's the look this heron's rocking right now. You can see he's still got some fluffy feathers on his underbelly. This is part of his breeding plumage, which he still has. Now we have 4 cattle egrets. It was just 3 earlier. Good to see these cattle egrets here. And they also look like they're in breeding plumage, so they're just plain white outside of the breeding season. But during the breeding season, they do get a bit of a rufous kind of ginger crown, as well as a ginger patch on their bellies, and a little bit more coloration to their bills. Wildebeest that have also come down to the watering hole today, and these are our famous warthog rubbing posts. Rubbing and scrubbing themselves on those rocks on their stomachs. Haven't seen our crocodiles today, so let's keep an eye out for our crocodile. We did have an elephant that was feeding very close to the crocodile yesterday, and they're very limited in the space and movement that they have right now. Having a bit of a pan, a bit of a scan. Let's see what else is out there. Doesn't look like our yellow-billed ducks have moved much. They're pretty much in the exact same spot. Oh, here's our moorhen. So we've got a common moorhen. We haven't seen our black crake today. Normally there's at least 1 or 2 black crake hopping about. Wow, check out that bull. That waterbuck is very impressive. What a beautiful male waterbuck. Quite a common herd size, and then generally you'll have in a herd of waterbuck 1 big male and anything from 2 to 6 females. Quite a sturdy antelope waterbuck, and generally found near a source of water. They are recognized by their very shabby reddish-brown coat. I do love those lyre-shaped horns that the waterbuck have, the curved horns. It is quite a distinguishing feature. Right, having a scan. What else is out there? Oh, nice to see the waterbuck close to the water, as well as some wildebeest. They're venturing a little bit out of their comfort zone, the wildebeest. Again, I hope that none of these animals get stuck in the mud. As you can see with this waterbuck male, he's been quite deep in the mud there, searching for food. And the wildebeest are also taking advantage of the little bit of greenery that is around this dam. And so are Egyptian geese. They also feed on grass and vegetation close to the water's edge. And look at these warthogs. Oh, this warthog looks like he's coming to give himself a good old scratch. Quite a nice scene here to see these waterbuck, wildebeest, warthogs, your blacksmith lapwing, and Egyptian geese all feeding in the same area. Quite a commensalistic relationship between all of these different species here. They're all feeding in the same area. No one is a competition to one another. And yeah, seem to all be feeding in harmony. Catherine, I'm sorry to hear that you have had a long week. If you say you feel like that heron looks, he looked completely exhausted. Like he's just had one of those weeks that just came from another place and dragged him through the mud, left him feeling completely exhausted. So I hope that everyone is getting excited for the weekend and not feeling too much like our little heron friend over there. So, Lady Macbeth, thank you for your comment about cattle egrets. So, yeah, it is very interesting how different egret species, as well as different bird species, can completely change their skin color or body plumage in order to attract the females. And yeah, so the cattle egret is quite a small egret. I think the only one that is smaller than a cattle egret or similar size is the little egret. So yeah, crazy. The not a very how do I say? Not a very creative naming structure of some of the egrets. You get the little egret, intermediate egret, cattle egret, so in between. So smallest is little cattle egret, then you get little egret, then you get intermediate egret, and then you get the great white egret. So yeah, you also get the kingfisher, the kingfishers, where you get the pygmy kingfisher, dwarf kingfisher. Yeah, so some very interesting names amongst the birding world. Hudson, it is very cool how warthogs do use those noses of theirs to dig up grass, vegetation, and roots. So it's actually something cool fact that I only learned recently this year. So sometimes with warthogs, you'll see them having tear marks going down their face. It almost looks like as if they've been crying, and they actually have a very proactive tear glands inside, or tear ducts inside their eyes, that's constantly seeping fluid, especially in the big males and older females. And this fluid that's constantly seeping out of their eyes acts as a bit of uh, a washing system, I guess you'd say, to remove all the dust and dirt from the eyes. So if constantly they have their eyes seeping and watering, this does help their eyes stay clear of debris. So yeah, pretty cool. Wildebeest on the left hand side looks rather pregnant. She looks like she's going to drop a calf anytime soon. So again, a lot of the antelope now, like saw a very pregnant impala yesterday at Tower Lodge. No, not Tembe, sorry, Tembe Elephant Park. We also had a very pregnant impala. So a lot of the antelope species now are getting rather round and robust, dying for the rains to arrive so that they can drop their calves. And awesome watching these warthogs. We don't get warthogs often here at Tower Lodge, so it is really awesome to watch these little warthogs go about their day. So this is a female with her youngsters that are probably coming on just a year. So again, warthogs, similar as a lot of antelope species, will also give birth during the rainy season. So these youngsters are probably looking at about 10 to 11 months old. And yeah, this female warthog. Oh, what's this warthog doing? He's also giving himself a scratch. Female warthog's rather lucky to have had 3 of her piglets surviving the year. Often the success rate of little warthog piglets is not very high. If 2 or 3 survive, that's pretty high success. Frankie, so we have a question from Frankie about when do we predict the first impala lamb will be born. So you're guessing, Frankie, 11th of November. So it kind of depends again. Birthing periods will kind of, and peaks will kind of depend on region, from one region to the next, and also obviously depending on the rainfall. So yeah, depending on when the rain starts. So if the rain does start in the next week or so in Kruger, I hope that the first impala might be born on the 20th or 21st of November. Would be pretty cool in Kruger National Park. Although in Zimbabwe they're experiencing a lot less chances of rain, so I think the birthing period for the impala in Zimbabwe might be first week of December. So maybe South Africa will get some rain first, and then Zimbabwe will experience some rainfall. Check out these warthogs. Oh my goodness, this is too precious. What a lovely view. So, of course, as predicted, our little warthog friends had a lovely mud bath and now have head over to their special warthog rubbing posts for a scrub-a-dub-dub. Wildebeest don't seem to be too active. They're pretty just standing around. And yeah, any elephants? Where are the elephants? Or where are crocodiles? Haven't seen any crocodiles today. Yesterday we did have quite a cool sighting of these moorhens. We saw, sure if it was 5 or 6 common moorhen yesterday. It's quite a high number. I would think with the water level dropping here at Tower Lodge that it would mean a lot of the water birds would be moving outwards. But I guess even though the water level is dropping, it's still providing a habitat and food source is still available, especially if we've got all these interesting night herons coming through. Haven't seen our little greenback tonight heron again, but pretty cool that he's also around. So these moorhens do prefer very fresh water, shallow fresh waters, wetlands, and also ponds, lakes, rivers, and marshes. They're often found with very dense vegetation along the edge of water bodies, and this is perfect shelter for them, but also perfect place for them to find food. So these moorhens are actually omnivorous and they do feed on a variety of food, including plants, seeds, fruits, insects, small fish from time to time, and even at times snails. They do forage by dabbing their little beak into the shallow water and picking food off of the surface. And from time to time, they do also dive for food when need be. Oh yes, I remember we did have a Hottentot teal. How cool. So it looks like our 2 yellow-billed ducks have moved off and now we have 2 Hottentot teals, which is pretty cool because yesterday I only saw 1 Hottentot teal, which was blending itself in very well with a yellow-billed duck. So quite cool to see a Hottentot teal. Yes, this little teal has found his partner, found a friend. Very beautiful little dabbling duck, which is found in sub-Saharan Africa as well as parts of Madagascar. The teals are one of the smallest ducks and they do measure about 30 to 35 centimeters or 12 to 14 inches, and they do have a very light chestnut colored body. Males will have a more vivid coloration than the females, and they're generally in pairs. They do like to favor shallow freshwater habitats such as marshes, ponds, lakes, and of course slow flowing rivers. I love that very distinct coloration of their bills, very prominent red bill that they have. So unlike other duck species, these Hottentot teals are generally quiet and tend to be very shy and secretive in very dense reeded vegetations. So if you don't find them in pairs, you can also find them in small groups and occasionally in flocks. So you get in southern Africa, we do get the Hottentot teal with the red bill, and I think your Cape teal with a blue bill. So yeah, you get Cape teal, red-billed teal, and your blue-billed teal. I do love the blue-billed teal. It is a very pretty looking bird. So the old name or new name for Hottentot teal is red-billed teal. I'm going to play the call for you. Although, as mentioned, they don't often vocalize. So the only time I've actually heard these teals vocalizing is when they have been disturbed and flying from one area to another. It's almost like a distress alarm call. What a pretty pair. Xavier, yes, so you do get snakes that will feed on water birds, as well as I know the monitor lizards. Monitor lizards love to feed on the eggs of a lot of these water birds. So yeah, monitor lizards are not my biggest. I'm not the biggest fan of monitor lizards. They are, yeah, quite play a very big role when it comes to feeding on the nests of waterfowls. But yeah, snakes will feed on water birds if they get the chance from time to time. And we were actually talking about yesterday the little three-banded plover. They do also act as a bit of a grooming or dental service to crocodiles, although they are very brave because it's very easy for a crocodile to chomp away at a tiny little three-banded plover. Bigger birds of prey will also be a bit of a threat to these water birds. So, like I've seen African fish eagle eating ducks before. Yeah, I've seen an African fish eagle with a white-faced whistling duck. So yeah, we do need to be very aware. Lots of predators out there. Serval and caracal would also be a very good predator when it comes to feeding on these water birds. Oh, these teals are enjoying the sunshine. I hope these teals hang around for us. We haven't seen them for quite some time. The last time I saw these teals, besides yesterday, was probably a couple of months ago. Um, yeah, definitely. They were must have been 2 months ago I last saw these teals here at Tower Lodge. So they will kind of move from pan to pan depending on water levels in the area. Tower Lodge has been one of our most busy locations in the last week. There's been lots of activity here at Tower Lodge. There's our little red-billed spurfowl tree that normally the red-billed spurfowl roam around before it was flattened by elephants. Our wildebeest don't seem to have moved very much. And where is our crocodile? What bird is that down there next to the cattle egret? It's got a cool bird down there. Could be a sandpiper. There's been a wood sandpiper hanging out here at the watering hole, so maybe it's a sandpiper. Our tired heron doesn't look like he's moved much for the day. And I guess the cattle egrets will probably wait for some bigger mammals to arrive, and hopefully take off with the mammals in order to find some perhaps an opportunity for some bit of a meal. Alrighty folks, let's head over to Hyena Pan for the last couple of minutes and see what is waiting for us at Hyena Pan. Alrighty, what do we have here? Looks like it could be a house sparrow of some sort. Just chilling on a dead branch in the mud. Let's have a look at the sparrows. I'm pretty sure it's a house sparrow, but let's just have a double check. Yep, looks like a female house sparrow. Looking at a little stream that's going into the pan. Checking for any more tracks. I know this area is very salt. It's very rich in sodium. Oh, got some. Oh, it looks like they're collecting nest building material. Oh no, Petronia. These are not Petronias. Could be a Petronia or the bush sparrows. That would be pretty cool if it was a Petronia or a bush sparrow. Looks like they were collecting some nest building materials to build their nests. Oh, here they are. Got a very interesting significant stripe on the Siparian there, white stripe. What a cool sighting. It's very quiet today, no? It doesn't look like there's any elephants here. Yellow-throated bush sparrow. There we go, folks. That is the name, yellow-throated bush sparrow. We've got the little yellow patch, and looks like we've got a little lizard coming down for a drink as well. Yellow-throated bush sparrow or Petronia. Really, really cool. So we're currently sitting at about 25 birds for the day. It's been a bit of a quiet birding day, but we've also just been taking some time today to just enjoy all the different sights and scenes around us. Where are these elephants? Maybe we'll get a hyena in the last couple of minutes if we're lucky. Oh, and we've got a helmeted guinea fowl, another bird for the list. interesting about those bush sparrows, it's the first time I've actually seen them close enough to see that little yellow patch underneath their throat. Otherwise, I really struggle to remember their name, but now I will remember. Yellow-throated bush sparrow. Well, folks, it has been an absolute privilege being with you here this week, live at the waterhole. I will be taking a couple of days off, so I will be back with you next week. But please don't forget to tune into the sunset safaris. There's lots of activity happening at our locations. Mr. Giraffe has come to say hello. But yeah, join in the sunset safari, same time, same place tomorrow for live at the waterhole. I hope that you all have a fabulous weekend. From me and the rest of the Wild Earth crew, it has been an awesome week. Have a lovely weekend, folks.